Hello, my name is Zach Ryban Siders with Old Man Gaming, and this is another horrible game review. So welcome back. Before we get into it, some disclaimers. Number one, and first and foremost, I've gotten some comments below that people have been a little upset with some of my reviews. I just want to say one more time, a review is an opinion. I'm just kind of looking at it from my point of view. I'm trying to point out anything that I think is bad and I think is good. So if you love a game, play a game. You know, it's not, don't let me stop you. I'm just an idiot in my basement. Number two review, I do not give scored reviews. I don't believe in them. Games are one of the most subjective forms of art. So I will give you an overview of the game, then I will give you the pros and the cons from my point of view, and then I'll tell you whether or not I will be sticking with the game past the purposes of the review. And then finally, I don't always get a ton of hours with these games, sometimes as low as 4 or 5 hours. I definitely don't play through everything on these games. I'm trying to give you an everyman's point of view from it. I'm trying to give you a quick look at it so that you can decide whether you want to play it or not from that. If you want a super in-depth review, there are those out there. Go check those out. I urge you to. Alright, with the business out of the way, let's get into this game. And today's review is Phantasy Star Online 2 Open Beta. So, this game has been around in Japan forever, many years. It is finally coming to North America, and it has come to the Xbox first. It had a closed beta last month, and now it is in open beta. Usually I would wait till a full release of a game to do something, or at least it to be in game preview, but this game has been around for so long. I feel like everything I need to review the game is in it, and I can always come back to it later if I need to. So I'm going to dig into it right now. First of all, from what I understand, this open beta doesn't have an end date. I'm not sure if that's true. Don't take that as gospel, but for right now, it just seems to be out in open beta form and might be in beta form for many months before it just becomes an actual game like some others that we've seen. So what is Phantasy Star Online 2? Well, other than a gross misspelling of the word fantasy, it is an MMO Japanese anime style game in which you create a character in kind of this future space age kind of world in which everybody's traveling around on these things called arcs. What you'll do is you'll sign on to a ship, and then you'll be assigned a block within that ship. Then you can move around that ship with anybody else in that block of the ship. Now the blocks are all exactly identical, and the ships are of course identical too in their layout, but to actually see certain people without being in the party or whatever, you have to be on the same block with them. Then you take quests. Quests usually manifest in 3 different forms. One, you get these game like just from the game, like there'll be tier quests of like kill 300 enemies overall, like almost like achievement-based quests. Then there are quests that you take from the quest counters themselves, which are like expeditions and story stuff and whatnot. And then you also can take quests, what's called client order quests, which are these quests that you take from individuals kind of walking around the ship, and who will talk to you and give you out missions. Then you'll kind of launch yourself into the field with a party or without a party, and then you kind of pick a map, and then you run through that map, and everything you do on it helps you complete the quests that you're doing. Then you'll go back to the ship, you'll do inventory management, you'll do quest management, and you'll rinse and repeat. There are some really cool other stuff about this game that I definitely want to point out before we even get into the pros and cons. There's a social aspect to it in the emergency and urgent quests. Basically what will happen is they'll pop up just randomly, and they'll be active for a certain amount of time. They're almost like this game's kind of version of raids, but they're time sensitive, and what it is everybody runs into it, then you go to a special map. There's a ton of other players there, so it becomes this just insane, chaotic free-for-all. I think I captured some footage. I think I'm going to try and put it in the review. And then what happens is you slowly fight out of this urgent quest for even more rewards. Then they have some other really cool live stuff that they do. They actually do in the video game concerts, which I think is one of the most unique and cool things that I've ever witnessed. I know there are some social aspects like that in some other MMOs, but this one was just the first one that I ever actually was a part of. This was back in the closed beta. They haven't done one yet on this one, but I just think that's a really cool thing. So I want to point that out as far as uniqueness to this game. The ship itself that you're on offers just almost an endless amount of activities and things to do and things to craft and things to make. There's a cafe where you can cook dishes, you can make special skill rings, you can make weapons and armor, and then of course you can buy and sell weapons and armor, you can appraise them. Then there's a whole mag system in which this like little robotic companion that follows you around that aids your abilities if you feed it items you don't want. Then of course you also get personal quarters, which you can decorate any way you want, so you have kind of this weird crafting Minecraft aspect to it. Then of course you have alliances, which are kind of like, you know, like guilds or whatever, which those also have spaces that you can go join them in. And then there's a whole casino that I didn't even get time to try, and I've played this game for almost 10 hours already. There's a lot to do in Phantasy Star Online 2, and a lot that it offers you. But that does have some downsides, and we'll get all into that, into the pros and cons. There are also 9 different classes. You can only pick one of the 6 at the beginning to play with. One of the cool things about this game, and I guess I should save it till a pro, but you don't have to worry about picking the wrong class at first. If you pick a class you don't like, it's literally as simple as walking over to a character on the main lobby floor and asking them to change your class, and you change your class. The only trick to it is making sure that you have a weapon that goes with the class you're picking to, which sometimes you have to buy it or whatnot. But that's it. That's as simple as that is. Another cool thing is your character has skill trees, kind of in the vein of like Borderlands. It's a little bit less organized, a little bit more all over the place, but the same kind of thing. You have certain skills that you can put 1 to 5 to 10 points in, and it boosts your abilities. And you get these skill points as your character levels up. Another interesting thing about this is you can actually add skill trees, custom skill trees to your character, so you can actually go into missions with custom skill tree loadouts, which is something you do have to spend some extra in-game currency, but still, there's nothing like that in Borderlands. Or other games like it. You have to go in and completely redo your skill layout if you want to change your skill layout. With this, you can have a couple loadouts and just switch to them on the fly. Not in the mission, but still, it makes ease of access. It's an ease of access thing that I think a lot of other games should adopt. As far as the classes, like I said, it's 9 of them. I don't want to name them all, and I didn't actually get to practice with them all, but they all seem to be very interesting and in depth, and they all seem to have a very kind of interesting mechanic based on the base. It's kind of like Monster Hunter World with the weapons in a way. Your weapon kind of changes the way the core mechanics of the game work, and that's kind of how this is. Like, your class kind of changes the core mechanics of how what you get used to works on a little bit more of a simpler scale, but the same basic idea. Okay, so yeah. So like I said, you will go to these missions, you'll do these missions, and then you'll return to the ship, rinse and repeat. At the end of usually most of the expeditions, you fight some big monster, and yeah, that's it. That's it for the main basis of the game. So let's go to the pros and cons. And I like to start positive, and this game has a lot of positives. I just want to point that out to everybody. First of all, the flow into the mission is what all MMOs need to do. Like, it is really a very clean, like, you move into the mission kind of like Monster Hunter World, then back to the main lobby where everybody is, then back into the mission, and there's only so many people in the mission. Even if you do like a public, you're not going to be overwhelmed with a ton of people running around, and that kind of made me super happy. I really enjoyed that. I don't like MMOs where you're just running around and there's just enemies constantly spawning everywhere and there's guys constantly killing them everywhere, kind of like Black Desert. I can't get into it. It takes me out of it. This one doesn't have that. You move through it as if it was just a normal game, even with the other characters, moving around, which is really nice, really refreshing on that front. Another big pro for me is the loading times. This is a little bit more of a simpler one, a little bit less about the gameplay, but this game is old and it's a little bit dated, which we will talk about in the con section. But one of the upsides of that old datedness is that this game's load times are phenomenal. I'm not even playing on an Xbox One X. I'm playing on an old first generation Xbox One, and I'm never in a loading screen for more than like 60 seconds because it's just so easy to load it in, and that is really nice. The amount of downtime between stuff that you're doing is phenomenally low, and that's really nice. So that was another pro I really wanted to speak about. Another pro that is also kind of a con that we're going to talk about is the sheer volume of stuff to do in this game. There is always a task to clear, or a mission to do, or a quest to turn in, or a weapon to buy or collect. There's never a lack of stuff to do in this game. Like, never. Almost to a bad point. Like I said, we're going to talk about it in the cons too. But man, I did not feel myself getting bored ever. Confused and overwhelmed, yes. Bored, not once was I bored in this game. Another pro is the character creator is incredibly in-depth. I mean, it's anime stuff. I want to clear that up. A lot of people talking about it leave that out. Like, you can't just create a normal-looking dude. These are all very anime-type characters. But it's very, very in-depth, very easy to create exactly what you want. You have 4 races to choose from. They have minimal stat increases and bonuses that don't really matter that much later on in the game. So you can really play anything with any class. The classes are a little bit more what matters. But you can pick 3 different types of human kind of looking. There's like almost like an elfish type character. Then there's like a character that's like a human, but it has like a unicorn horn. Then there's, of course, humans. And then there's these like living robot people that sometimes have human heads. But the level of character creation when you go into the actual character creator is phenomenal. It's really easy to create whatever you want, and I do like that about that personal expression. I did not once see any character in any of the maps that I spawned into look anything like any of the other ones. They were all completely and totally unique. Another pro I really want to get in on is they make this game incredibly easy to just play on your own. Like, very obviously it's engineered to social play. You get more rewards for doing quests with other people. But one of the coolest things I found about this game is you have this little kind of like hub space between the main ship and the planet called the gateway ship, and it's where you kind of you do a little drink beforehand to boost your stats, kind of akin to Monster Hunter World's eating. Then you can also take quests there, and then it's kind of like this like loading place to like bring your party together. What's really cool is there is a console in this where you can basically contract for free other players' characters, but played by the AIs, and the other players get to set it up. I got to set it up too. You get to like go into like a little menu and tell the game how you're gonna act in a fight, and man, it's cool. It's really cool. Like, you can fill out your party with just AI versions of other people's characters. You could really play this game alone, and you could do it with a party the entire time, and I think that is just one of the coolest little features that I have ever seen in a game. There is one downside to it. I'm not going to put this in the pros because it's on this thing, and it's a little bit of a nitpicky thing, but I really wish there was a way to like save the characters that you've already had help you so that you can have them help you again, and I could get the same characters over and over again. The way this works is just kind of like randomly spawns all the characters that are in the block that I'm in, so I very rarely get the same character twice, which is nice to see the differences, but I almost like want to kind of like build that imaginary relationship in my head, so I'd love to be able to pick the same characters over and over again. And then, one final pro on the customization in-game is Oh, phenomenal. You have so much freedom and ease and access with your character loadout, with your character setup, with your character skill tree. You collect these techniques as you go, which allow you to fight in different ways, and you can actually pick what moves your character is doing at any given time, which is just another aspect of looting and customization that just gives you more to do in this game. But with that down, I gotta go negative. So let's get into the cons of Phantasy Star Online. Number one con: I don't like that it's got pH in it. I've never liked that it's got a pH in it. I know this game series is old. The pH is ridiculous. Let's put F there. But aside from that, I really felt overwhelmed in this game. And I'm not going to lie, I've been playing this for a few hours now, and I still feel overwhelmed. I still feel like I don't know what's going on half the time. The storyline seems to be almost incomprehensible. There are story quests, but when I go to them, they don't take me to a mission. They just play videos that don't seem to be really linked to each other in any way, shape, or form. It's just my character talking to people who I've never met and don't understand why I'm talking to them, and then I'll be in a different location. Like, there's no there's no story that I can really see. And if somebody out there plays BSO and knows better than me on how to get a more cohesive story, please just let me know. I could be completely wrong on this, but as far as I can tell, this is a very incomprehensible game. Compounding off that con is just how overwhelming. You will get what I like to call as menu fatigue very fast in this game, and it's kind of a downside, mainly because they do give you a lot of storage overall. They give you like 300 spaces to store items, and 300 or 500 spaces to store items between all your characters. So there's a ton, especially if you're only playing one character, there's a ton of space there, but you only get 50 spots when you're in a mission or just running around, and everything fills those spots up. You fill stuff up so fast that you end up managing your stuff, and it doesn't just default sends things to storage. So when you fill up on a mission, you have to stop, you have to go into the menu, and you have to individually send stuff to the storage, which is a little irritating. Compounding that, you don't auto collect rewards for quest finishings, for mission finishings and stuff like that. It tells you finished them, then you've got to go into a menu and click the button on it twice. I know that doesn't seem like much, but when you have you get so many quests and missions in this, so many. There are 40 dailies available to you every day. You can only accept 4 of them, but still, that's 4. Then you've got your weekly and your monthly. You've got your overall ARX missions. You've got all the client orders. The client orders you can only turn in if you talk to the person. It's just too much stuff. I felt like there would be whole 40-minute sections where I'm just sitting in a place managing items and quests, and I wish they'd streamline that a little bit more. Maybe give me a little bit more space in the field, or make it so that I could turn on that my stuff just goes immediately to storage when I'm collecting, so that I could just collect and stay in the action. Maybe auto accept the quest rewards would be nice too, but there's just so much menus and stuff being thrown at you that it gets really overwhelming and really intimidating, and I think it might throw some more casual players off, which is not a good thing. Compounding that even more is all the crafting and different stuff that you need to upgrade and sell and manage. I can't stress enough how bad this con is. It's not a game killer at all. I love this game, and I'm probably going to keep playing it, spoiler alert, but this con is the biggest hindrance to me on this. It's weird because it loads in so fast. I almost feel like this is a great game to just jump in and play, but if I haven't managed my inventory on the last time, jumping in and playing means 30 minutes just going through menus and figuring out what missions to do, and feeding my mag and upgrading my mag, and selling the weapons I don't need, and getting my weapon space down to low so that I can collect stuff. They also add in these harvesting and fishing things as you progress through the game. So you'll be in a mission and you can just really quickly harvest ores and rocks and fish for fish, which is cool, but those take up the same 50 inventory spots. They don't go to a separate spot or go to your storage. So if you decide to harvest in a mission, you can't collect any of your weapons without inventory management, and if you decide not to harvest, it's the same thing. it's like you really have to like focus on what you're doing instead of just having fun in the moment, and it's really irritating me. I think it's the biggest obstacle for this game is the menu fatigue and just the inventory management over and over again. This is going a little bit long. I'm sorry. I really wanted to talk about this game. The one final con that I have is it for nitpicky people out there. This doesn't bother me because I don't mind reduced graphics. I think we reached a point where I was happy with graphics years ago, so I don't need the photorealistic graphics. So this is more of a con for other people who might not like it. This game is dated. It is from a while ago, so this definitely looks like an old game, and it looks like an old game. It feels and plays kind of like an old game. It's not a bad thing for me. I love it. But I gotta put it in the con section because I'm doing a review, and I know there's people out here who would be like, this looks terrible, and they wouldn't want to play it because of that. And that's fair. That's completely fair to them. It's just, I've got to bring it up. So, am I gonna stick with it? Yes, I love this game. This is a really fun game. It is free right now on Xbox. You can just go download it and get into the open beta. This game is also in open beta, so I just want to make that final disclaimer that this could improve as the time goes on. It probably will, but I'm definitely going to stick with it. I like this game. I want to get everybody into it. It's a lot of fun, and I do love that even as complicated as it is, there is this satisfaction every time you learn a new feature of it or facet of it, and that's really enjoyable. And I just want to give a shout out to the community of PSO. It's one of the best communities I've ever played with on any of these games. I only got one troll, and when he was trolling me, other people were giving him crap for trolling me, which was really nice. I really enjoy that they're very helpful. They want to get people into this game. A lot of them are people who came from playing the Japanese version, so really nice that there's people out there that really want this game to succeed. And the lifespan of this game is just insane. Like, you think it's like 10 years old and it's still going, still bringing in new players. I think that's a testament to the community as well. So, alright, that's it. That's the horrible review. Sorry it went a little bit long. Phantasy Star Online 2. Hope you guys give it a try. As usual, we have too many shows to mention here, so check us out on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. Join our Discord. The link is in the description below. And of course, as long as you guys keep watching and listening, we'll keep making them. Thank you.